This is episode 4 of our travel series, and today's topic is new perspectives, lessons learned from travel. Hello, Sue.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm very well. When I think of this, one of the first things that comes to my mind is empathy. What I mean by that is when you travel to a new place, you don't know how to do things. You don't understand the food or how to use the public transport or whatever, maybe the language as well. There's many things that you are not familiar with, but you find that people are quite patient. People are quite kind, and they help you get through difficult situations. Quickly they see that, he doesn't know what he's doing, or he doesn't know how to do this. And generally people are kind and they will help you. And empathy, kind of being able to put yourself in other people's shoes, I think the empathy comes when you're back in your home country and you meet somebody who is visiting and they don't know what they're doing, or they're a bit confused, or maybe their language skills are not great. You find that you're a bit more patient with them and you can actually show some kindness and help them understand your culture. So I think empathy was a big thing that I learned from traveling. What do you think about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Empathy is experiencing feelings and then knowing that other people are feeling this at certain times. Right. I've been through this.
Yeah.
I've experienced this. It wasn't nice, but, with a little bit of help, that can change. And then that empathy, kind of brings this kindness in you. I wouldn't want to be in that situation without help. So today I'm going to help.
Yeah. That
would be that empathy part. And yeah, because you had this like bad feelings, you know how other people feel and you don't want them to feel bad.
Yeah.
So you go and you give some kindness.
Yeah.
You're kind to them, help them out.
I think you also remember how you felt when you received some kindness from strangers. And you know that, you meet somebody in your home country and they're struggling. You know that if you take 2 minutes of your day to help them through this situation, how they will feel. They will have that same feeling that you did. Another word that comes to mind is tolerance. And I think this is, for me, it's related to language. I've lived in countries where I don't speak the language fluently. And when you live in that place, you have to do things. Living in Japan, I have to go to the bank, or I have to go to the city office, or go into situations where it's going to be difficult for me to explain myself. So I know what it's like to be a language learner in a situation where I struggle to explain myself. And again, if I meet somebody who maybe doesn't speak English very well, I'm quite patient with them because I know what it's like. I know what it's like to have something you want to say, or, there's something important you have to do, but you don't have the language. It's important for me to take time and try my best to understand that person. A conversation is what I always say to my students. A conversation is 50% you and 50% the other person. You don't have to say everything 100% correct. You just need to give 50%, and the other person, they have to come to you and they need to try to understand what you're saying. And I am very tolerant with people who try their best, but maybe they're not perfect. And I will give them time to explain themselves.
Yeah, I think you said it is about being patient.
Yeah.
And not expecting perfection and not expecting things to work as you know they could work perfectly, right? Language is definitely one, but also tolerance in making mistakes or not, or going the wrong way.
Right.
Or don't be angry at that. Sometimes people don't know.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You just
They
help
just-
them out. And that's the tolerance. Don't get angry. Don't be impatient.
Yeah, absolutely. Another lesson that can be learned from travel is this reassessment, thinking again about what is important in your life. And I think when we are at home and we're working, going to work, doing things related to our home life, we get into our routine and, life is the same day to day. Everything's kind of the same. But when you travel, you go to somewhere new, you see things, you have new experiences. It's a chance to remind yourself that there are so many different experiences that you can have. There's so many different ways to live life. And when you come back to your home country, you might think, actually, I want to change some aspects of my life. Maybe I want to be a bit more adventurous, or maybe I want to be a bit more healthy in the way that I live my life. Or I want to spend time learning this skill. So travel is a nice chance to go see new things, have new experiences, and then decide, do you want to take any of those things and add them to your home life?
I think for me, some priorities are also about things. Maybe it wasn't that important to have that thing.
Right.
I was able to go, through this travel this month or this week. I was able to do without it. It was fine. And that's kind of a reassessment. Maybe things are not as important as you thought they were. I think for me, that was a great lesson. It was fine. I was okay without them. They're not that important outside the context I was in.
Right. Yeah, I think the word that we can use here is you became less materialistic.
Yes.
Less worried about actually the things that you own and more about kind of the experiences that you can have in life.
Exactly.
And yeah, you might go home and you might declutter. You might get rid of some things that were filling your house up, and maybe even change the way that you spend money. You might decide that you're going to, rather than saving for a shiny new car, you might decide that you're going to save up a bit of money to go on your next journey, your next trip. So yeah, your priorities change. The things that you think are important might change. And this, I think, it's really interesting how just from getting out of your normal day-to-day life, you can change your attitude in terms of how you interact with people, the way that you view people from other places, because you've had that experience. You've been the outsider. You've been the one who didn't understand, who didn't know. But also you can look back at your life and think, are there things that I want to change? Are there things that I can improve? Are there things that I want to cut out of my life? So yeah, there's a lot to be learned from traveling.